Hello everybody and welcome to our meeting. It will be about health, it will be about wellness, and it will be connected with this situation now with the coronavirus and what we can do about it, and in general what we can do in connection with viruses in general. My name is Peter. I'm Dr. Peter Naydenov. I'm an experienced homeopath who has been working since more than 20 years with AquaSource products and with classical homeopathy, with Bach flower remedies, and with other holistic modalities. And I am maintaining a website which is in English and in Bulgarian. It is called anhira.com. I'm going to write it down. So if you want, you can visit and you can know more about me. The purpose of this meeting is to inform our colleagues, our friends, our future friends in English-speaking communities all over Europe about this product so that they can know more about algae, about colostrum, about superfoods, and about AquaSource. It is a company which is around more than 25 years already. It was originally a British company, and after some time it became international, almost global, with offices in many countries, with a website which I'll write down now. This is the website of the company, aquasource.net. And this company works in the field of holistic health, superfoods, natural supplements, as well wellness, and as well skincare. I will share now my screen so that you can see. This is the site of AquaSource, aquasource.net. Of course, you can learn more about AquaSource from here. You can learn more about the products of AquaSource and about the opportunity which the company offers. Now our topic will be the products of AquaSource, and we are starting with the Klamath Lake algae or AquaSource algae. Why AquaSource algae? Because our brand is offering algae that were gathered in a very special way in the most pristine part of the Klamath Lake, and then dried by a special method which is called, owned by a company called Liquid Dry. This method is named bioactive dehydration, and this means that our algae are almost raw. They have been exposed to temperatures of not more than 41 degrees Celsius, which means that all the enzymes and all the ingredients and the chlorophyll, etc., is there, ready, available, and basically as if they are alive. For me, it all starts with this algae. They are microalgae, meaning they are one-cell organisms, and they are, as you can see, let me enlarge a bit. They are over 60% protein and very high in beta-carotene and vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is unique because it is almost non-existent in many foods, but in algae it is enough to cover our daily requirements. As well, algae are excellent source of iron and other essential minerals, and what is for me very important and unique is that algae are not synthetic, they come from nature. And I want to tell you some more information about algae now. Microalgae are in the bottom of the food chain, and as well they are the most ancient form of life on our planet. They are more than 3 billion years old, and from them starts the evolution of everything that lives and breathes on our planet. And algae are very high in chlorophyll, which means that they are taking the power of the sun, and they are transforming it into usable energy for every other living being on our planet. They are using the oxygen. Sorry, excuse me just a second.
Back to the primal source of life, which is algae on our planet. Basically, all the energy from for everybody in our planet comes from the sun, and the sun has two types of energy. One type is light, which is connected with the human brain, with the eyes, with vision, and with intelligence. And the other part of the solar energy is heat or warmth, which is connected with the heart and with the thymus gland and with the immune system and with the life, or in other words, love. So light and love, these are the two primordial energies on our planet that are coming from our sun. And in order for us, humans, and many other species of animals on this planet, in order for us to absorb this energy from the sun, it has to be transmuted into something more, into something else, which is basically food. So algae, they are the best transformers, and they create the food for everybody on our planet, which means they store the energy of the sun, and they are then giving this energy to everybody else on our planet. All the living creatures, starting with the very small fish and ending with us humans, we are more or less using this energy through the food chain, which means algae, then small creatures, then bigger creatures, then the humanity, and in this way the energy is transmitted from the sun to our cells. So basically, because of the very good composition of algae, they are very rich and very pure source of key nutrients, and they have a lot of protein, but this is not the most important because we take only few grams a day, so we cannot get all our protein from algae. But the other things which they are very high in, like vitamin B12, like iron, like other essential minerals, they are important, but the most important things in algae is chlorophyll. And not because of the chlorophyll itself, but because of the energy that is stored in the chlorophyll, and that comes from the sun. So there is no other such food on our planet. If we take the strongest animals, like elephants, giraffes, buffaloes, etc., and even the whales in the oceans, all of them, they are feeding on chlorophyll. But, and this is a very important but, in our system, we don't have an enzyme which is called cellulase or cellulase. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, sorry. But this enzyme is absorbing or is tackling with the cellulose in the cells of the plants.
If we imagine a normal cell, a plant cell, it has a very thick cell wall, which is composed of cellulose, and here we have the chlorophyll inside. And if we take an elephant, it can easily take out the chlorophyll from the cells of the plants, because the elephant has the enzyme that is degrading the cell wall of the plant. But we don't have such an enzyme, and this is why for us practically the chlorophyll in the green plants is useless. The only way is if you take a very powerful blender and then you make a smoothie, and then because the blender is mechanically decomposing the cell walls and chopping everything very fine, you can extract the chlorophyll. So if you take smoothies, you take a lot of cellulose and you take a little bit of chlorophyll. Well, in algae, chlorophyll is much more in comparison to plants, but the cell wall is very thin, and we have enzyme for this. So basically, the strongest animal, like elephant, it is feeding on plants, and this is why it is so strong. But we human cannot feed on plants, but we can take the chlorophyll and the energy which is stored in it. We can take it and we can absorb it from the algae. So algae are much richer in chlorophyll than plants, and they have a very fine cell wall which is easy degradable by the human enzymes. So basically they are 98% available as a food from the first to the last day of our lives, and for everybody, by everybody, which is one of the small miracles of the algae. So when we take algae, and especially when we give algae to our children, the energy that comes from the sun, here is the sun, and we have the two types of energy, which is light and which is warmth. And these two types of energy come to us, to our brain or nervous system, and to our thymus or immune system, or heart. And basically here it is vitality, and here it is wisdom. Etc. So because of the chlorophyll, which is gathering and storing this energy, and then it is given this to us. When we start to take algae, we become more intelligent, more wise, and we have better immunity and better vitality. Basically, this is, in short, the story of the algae. Of course, many people look at algae as if they are a source of vitamins, minerals, proteins, amino acids, essential fatty acids, etc., etc. So they look at the physical goodness in algae, which I don't mind. But for me, the most important part of it is this story. Basically, if you want to get more sun energy or sun power, or more wisdom and love, or light and warmth, you better take algae because they are the most concentrated form of it. And of course, algae, they are a separate kingdom. They say it is in between plants and bacteria. Some call them cyanobacteria, some call them I don't know what, but basically algae are vegetarian, even vegan source. It stays even before the separation of the kingdoms into plant kingdom and animal kingdom. So if we take the evolutionary tree of life, which is like this, branches. So here we have the algae, the stem, and then we have plants, we have animals, we have fungi, etc., etc. All the separate kingdoms of life. So basically, algae are in the beginning of the evolutionary tree of life, and in the beginning of the food chain, and they are very close to the sun, and they are very pure form of food. Basically, if we take the so-called food chain, it starts with algae, which are like 80% of the biomass of the planet, and they produce up to 90% of the oxygen. Why? Because our planet is like 70% or more water, I mean the surface of our planet, and in this water, the most abundant form of life are algae. Algae is plural, by the way. Alga is singular. So there are more than 30,000 sorts of algae described, and there are several of them that are edible and that are very useful for human consumption. And the AquaSource algae or the Klamath Lake algae, that's Klamath Lake algae, or it is of an Naydenov aqua or AFA, which means the miraculous flower of the water, which sometimes appears and sometimes disappears. It is from Aphanizumenon is from Greek, and this is the meaning. Why? Because this algae is photosynthesizing very, very much, and when there is sun and the water is still, because of the oxygen bubbles, the algae come to the surface of the lake, so it appears. But when there is no sun and when there is wind, the algae sinks to the bottom. So when it comes to the surface of the water, it starts to produce more of the oxygen, starts to photosynthesize. Then when it comes to the bottom of the water, it gets minerals and whatever it needs from the area of the water which is closer to the bottom. By the way, the Klamath Lake is a very special place, very special lake, It is in a volcanic area, and it is very rich in sediments that comes from the volcanoes. And these volcanoes, of course, they are long extinguished, and now only the sediment is there. And by the water of 17 lakes and rivers, it comes to Klamath Lake, and then it is deposed there. And Klamath Lake is very big, like 30 kilometers, 5 kilometers wide, and but it is mostly 4 meters deep, and then we have another 10 to 12 meters of sediments, which is very rich in minerals. And the water is basically from the rivers. It is very clear and very, very clean. And from Klamath Lake starts a big river, which is called Klamath River. How big? Sorry. So big that near to the ocean, to the to the Pacific Ocean. One whale was trapped in the river. It came in the river together with the small whale. And, so it is really quite a big river. So basically this is not like a marsh, but it is a lake which is very clear, very pristine. The water is very high quality and very rich in minerals, and this is why Klamath Lake algae, or Phanizomenon floss aquae, grows there in very big quantities and can be collected, gathered, harvested every year. Like in this lake, there are about 10,000 tons of algae, and if we take half of them, which is impossible, there is no such technology, but let's say if we take 5,000 tons for one day, only within a couple of hours there will be again 10,000 tons. Why? Because this algae is doubling its volume every half an hour or every hour, depending on the weather condition. So basically this is an inexhaustible source of algae, and there is enough algae for the whole, there are enough algae for the whole humanity. So basically it is just a matter of technologies and of demand. And because of this, people more and more know about this algae, and it is exported in many markets. Like there used to be, years ago, there used to be more than 60, 70 countries. Now I am sure there are more than 100 countries that are taking algae and that are starting to eat it. Basically, this is not a food supplement. It is called a superfood. Superfood because it has it meets all the requirements for a superfood. A superfood is a food that is in very small quantity, has a very high quality, very easily digestible, and full of completely natural and full of energy, and full of many ingredients that are not in the usual foods. Okay. Let me again share my screen. You see, this is nature's more balanced food, and because of the bioactive dehydration, basically it is almost like raw, like alive. You can, of course, see for yourself all the key advantages and benefits. And there are some approved claims like vitamin B12, B5, vitamin C, etc., 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 which is again important, but not the most important. And then it contains no allergens, you see, no allergens. So basically you can give algae to your newborn baby from the first day of her life with no concerns about safety whatsoever. And by the way, AquaSource is checking algae several times, once at the lake, then at the factory that produces it, and then there is an independent checkup which is in the United Kingdom. So basically it's completely safe. So if you want to be healthy, to be intelligent, to be with a better immune system, you start taking algae, especially Klamath Lake algae. They are very good for the brain and very good for the hemopoiesis, or which means producing of the red blue cells, and in general of the blood cells, so red blood and white blood, which means immune cells. Why? Because it is stimulating the bone marrow to work better. And by the way, one of the benefits of algae is their very good influence upon stem cells in our body. Basically, if you take more than 5 grams of algae per day, they can stimulate the producing of stem cells and the migration of stem cells, so that it can enhance our regeneration processes in our body. For those who don't know, stem cells are very important for regeneration because they can transform into almost any type of cells in our body. For example, if the heart was damaged by infarction and you have a better supply of stem cells to the heart, then they can transform into myocardial cells, and then they can repair, fix our heart. Even there is such an operation, they take stem cells from our body and they concentrate them, and then they inject them into our, say, knee joint or our hip joint, and after some time they can repair the joint. So basically the same thing is happening when you eat algae regularly in high quantities. They are a very good form of rejuvenation and regeneration procedure for all of our cells. But what is seen is that they are very useful for people with anemia and for people with problems after, say, brain stroke, or people who are with some degenerative brain diseases, etc. And here is the place to mention that we are not supposed to make any medical claims like algae will heal your whatever, say, dementia or Alzheimer or brain stroke consequences, etc. And the only thing that can be officially said is on this website. So basically I am making a disclaimer here, but because I have a lot of experience with this algae as a physician, and I have observed many people take them like more than 20 years already. And I have read a lot of information about them. There are some countries where you're allowed more freedom of speech. And if you want, you can check this information. You can read about algae, things by Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who is a renowned world specialist in this algae. He's taking them even longer than I. He's older than me, basically. So this is one of our best products, and if you want to start with something, you definitely start taking this algae. It is very good for your health. Now, because I was talking about viruses and about coronavirus, etc., I would like to recommend to you another product which is very good for the immune system and which is again based on algae. It is called AquaSource Sea Power algae, or in short, Sea Power only. It is composed by 3 different types of sea algae plus AquaSource algae. So we have the brown algae, which are very high in iodine. We have the red algae, which are very high in calcium and magnesium. And we have the green algae, which are very high in many other things. But the most important sea power algae is a composed product with several kinds of algae, so it is more balanced, and it is covering overall many of the requirements of our body. And let's see. You see brown algae, two hundred times more iron than beet greens, and 100 times more iodine than equivalent amount of any land-grown vegetable. And of course, a lot of calcium. And the green algae, Dunaliella salina, is the richest natural source of beta-carotene, which is vitamin A precursor, like 2000 more per volume than carrots and other carotenoids, etc. And again, rich in chlorophyll and other good things. Red algae, very high in calcium, other minerals like magnesium. And of course, AquaSource algae, we were talking about them a lot, so I will not repeat myself. Here we have some key advantages. You see, helps the immune system, which we were talking about. According to Dr. Gabriel Cousins, iodine is very good for killing all sorts of germs, including viruses. There is no form of life which is not very quickly killed by iodine. I mean, no form of germ. And of course, it is very good for our thyroid gland. And because of this, contributes to mental performance and helps increase energy and vitality. And many other functions which are connected with our thyroid gland. Excellent source of iodine, you see, contributes to normal thyroid function and to cognitive function. And because of this, we have a lot of health claims here, like you see, iron and iodine for normal cognitive function, for normal thyroid function, for better function of immune system, red blood cells, etc., 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 calcium, vitamin C, vitamin B5, etc. But in order to be short and in order not to bother you with all sorts of scientific details. It is very good for supporting the immune system, especially in this time, because now many people, they want to know how to protect themselves from viruses like coronavirus, like flu virus, like cold virus. By the way, common cold virus is a sort of coronavirus. It's called rhinovirus. And basically, when you take algae, your immune system works better, and this is why we can protect ourselves against it or from many sorts of viruses. So basically, these two products, and then the other one is AquaSource Green Energy. It's again algae, but here we have spirulina. It is Hawaiian spirulina, which is the best in the world. And it is absolutely safe for consumption by human. And of course, AquaSource algae, spirulina, and organic alfalfa, which has very long tap roots, and this is why it gathers minerals and other nutrients from the soil. You know, most plants in the gardens, they have roots that reach not more than 30, 40, 50 centimeters in the ground, while alfalfa's roots come up to 20 meters in the ground. So because our soil surface is not that rich in minerals because of the intensive horticulture, and the usual vegetables, they cannot extract enough minerals from this top layer of the soil. But alfalfa, it reaches very deep into the earth, and from there it extracts all sorts of minerals. Of course, amino acids it produces because it is photosynthesizing, but in order for better production of amino acids, we need a lot of minerals. By the way, minerals are even more essential than vitamins, because without minerals, the vitamins cannot work. So basically, alfalfa is a unique plant that is taking its strength its power from the bottom of the soil, and because of this, it is very important. So basically, this is one of the best sellers of AquaSource, and we are recommending it for little children because they get better appetite and they can go better when they take green energy. We are recommending it for the supporting of the immune system. And of course, it gives us energy. You see, reduction of tiredness, normal function of the nervous and immune system, but more of the immune system. And contains no allergens as well. Now, because alfalfa, it is a form of plant, and even when it is very finely grinded, it contains small pieces that can well, irritate the bowels of the very small, of the very little, very young babies. Because of this, I, as a pediatrician, I don't recommend green energy for the first 3 months of baby's life. And in this time, I recommend the other form of algae, especially climate lake algae. And after the 4th month, I recommend green energy because it is very rich in minerals, and it is stimulating the growth of the small baby, and it is completely safe and no allergens. So again, three sorts of algae: climate lake algae, green energy, and sea power algae. All of them are good. All of them contain climate lake algae or AquaSource algae. Green energy contains spirulina, and sea power contains other forms of sea algae. And all of them you can take together, or you can take first one, then the other, then the third. What I do is I take climate lake algae for my brain. Recently I take sea power because of the iodine, which is very important, and not only because of the viruses, but because of the problems with the thyroid, which are very common nowadays. Like I would say maybe 40% of women have such problems. Women don't have that often, but still there are many men who have problems with the thyroid. And because of the lack of iodine in the food, you know that they used to take to enrich our salt with iodine. And when I was a young doctor, we were giving iodine tablets to our to the children in the schools. Now it is not that usual. It should be, and definitely it is better to get your iodine from an organic form, like an algae, because it is a living form of iodine. So I highly recommend that you take as well sea power algae, especially now when we have to have better immune system against the viruses. This is a very good idea. Okay, and now first I will talk about colostrum, colactive. Just a second, I would like to show you another form of colostrum. It's called colactive 3. Here, this one. Why colactive 3? Because it has 3 ingredients in it. The first ingredient is colostrum, which is the first milk, but it is only conditionally called milk because it is rather more similar to blood, but without the red blood cells. And it is very high in globulins and not in caseinum. And globulins are the immune factors of the blood. And because the cow is not able to transmit the immune factors, which are the globulins or the antibodies or immunoglobulins called. There are 5 types of it. And in the cow, it is not possible those globulins or those immune factors to be transferred through the placenta. And because of this, they all come into the colostrum. And when the calf is born, in its bowels, there is a high permeability of the bowel cells, and the first couple of days, when the calf takes the colostrum from the mother, all the immune factors through these holes in the bowel come into the blood of the calf, and because of this, it is protected from many pathogens, from many microbes. And at the same time, in the colostrum, there are lots of so-called growth factors, which are very needed for regeneration and for growing of our cells and of our tissues. And those growth factors are very efficient, and the calf, after it is born, it is almost helpless, but only after a couple of meals, which means colostrum, it starts to jump and to run, and it is very, very fast, and it is transformed in a miraculous way for the first couple of days of its life because of colostrum. If you don't give colostrum to a newborn calf, it is 5 times more probable that it will die before reaching ripe age. It is very important for survival of the species. Of course, we humans, sometimes we don't give colostrum to our babies because the mother, after a cesarean section, cannot produce it, or because of something else, or maybe somebody wants to protect the whatever is called the mame or the tits, etc. And we have formulas, but together with the formulas, after this come antibiotics and diseases, etc., etc. So basically, we have 3 things in the colostrum, in the collective tree. First, it is colostrum, which is the first milk, and it is very rich in various nutrients and antioxidants. But you see, AquaSource uses bovine colostrum, which contains about 10 to 20 times more nutritional factors than human colostrum. They have in mind here 10 to 12 to 20 times more growth factors and immunoglobulins. And the second ingredient is acidophilus, which is a probiotic, a friendly bacteria. And the third is lactoferrin, which is a different story. Lactoferrin means ferrin means something that is carrying the iron, and lacto means, of course, milk. So it is a special milk stuff that is helping iron to go back into the bone marrow, where it is used for production of new red blood cells. So what happens with our red blood cells is that after some time they die. And when they die, the iron from them, comes into the blood. Iron is toxic if it is not connected with some other things in the body. But not only this, iron is used as a food by the bacteria and by the harmful bacteria in our body. So when we have lactoferrin to bind iron and to bring it back where it belongs in our bone marrow, this means that bacteria and microbes in our body, they get deprived of food, which means that they will be less, they will have less vitality, and it will be easier for our immune system to fight them. So this is why, and because of the ready antibodies or immune factors, this is why we give colostrum or colactive 3, more important, to people who have problems with immune system, because it is like ready antibodies which are not species specific, They are the same in humans, in cows, etc. But they are against the same microbes, against the same bacteria. And because of this, we support the immune system with ready ammunition, so to say. So basically, this is the difference, the main difference between colostrum or coactive tree and algae or green energy or sea power. While algae, they are activating our own immune system. Colostrum is giving to us ready antibodies to be used right away against some 20 types of microbes. Because of this, when we combine algae and colostrum or algae and coactive tree, we are doing at the same time both, which means activating our own immune system, which is very important when it comes to viruses, and stimulating our health by ready antibodies, which are very important against bacterial infections. So, in this way, we are protecting us or our children during the colder seasons of the year against all sorts of microbes and all sorts of epidemics. Now, there is another benefit of taking colostrum, and it is because of an epithelium growth factor, which is regenerating the epithelia in human body. Like, for example, where we have epithelia, this is our skin, all of our mucous membranes, like in the guts, in the mouth, in the lungs, and in the kidneys, and in the urinary tract in general, like including the bladder, etc. And because many women have problems with the urinary tract, because the urinary canal of the woman is very short and very wide, and it gets easily infected, especially when women start to make sex. And it is very common for a woman to have a cystitis, and then from the bladder, the infection can travel further up and up until it reaches the kidneys. And because of this, it is very useful for such women to take colostrum because of its epithelial growth factors and because of the ready antibodies, including against Escherichia coli, which is very often the culprit for the urinary problems of the women. Of course, I am not implying, neither saying that colostrum will cure your cystitis or your kidneys, but it is very useful for supporting your health. Very useful. Okay, and now I want to bring to your attention another product which is very important. It's called Extra Strength Start Easy Program, which is an easy way to begin your well-being program. Of course, you can read for yourself everything. These are algae, digestive enzymes, and two types of probiotics, Acidophilus and Bifidus. Acidophilus is good for the small intestine, and Bifidus is good for the colon. And the digestive enzymes, they help us assimilate food. And of course, algae is a superfood. Well, now because it is enriched by red algae, which are added for calcium. And bifidus is 200% stronger. Acidophilus is 250% stronger than the previous strength. And it is Vegan Society approved. It is a very important product. And if you are already interested in taking algae, I would recommend you to join AquaSource, because when you join AquaSource, at the moment of signing up in AquaSource, you are offered this Start Easy programs at almost half price, which is a very, very good deal. So I recommend you to start with this program. What it does supports our inner cleansing mechanism, which in modern terms means detox. Optimize our nutritional intake for well-being and vitality because of the enzymes and because of the probiotics, and it is very good for our gut health. Now, I want to talk about the importance of the gut. Maybe everybody has heard this term, leaky gut syndrome. If not, please Google it. Leaky gut, if you let us show you some pictures. You see, this is a normal gut. You see, between all the cells there is a tight junction, and here it is inflamed or damaged gut cells, and you see that in between them many things come into the bloodstream, like gluten, like microbes, like toxins, like viruses, etc., etc., etc. But what is not here is that from the blood, many things go into the gut. So basically we can lose erythrocytes, we can lose immune factors, we can lose other things which are good for our health. So basically we get things that are not good for our health, and we lose things from the blood which is good for our health. And this is called leaky gut syndrome. And it is the most important factor for all sorts of chronic diseases. They say that more than 70% of the diseases, of the chronic diseases, including so-called autoimmune diseases, etc., 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 degenerative diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, for example, like all sorts of allergies, like psoriasis, eczema, asthma, you name it. There are hardly any chronic conditions which are not connected with leaky gut. Well, why do people get leaky gut syndrome? The first problem is antibiotics and other allopathic medicines, which people take in big quantities, and as well some anti-inflammatory drugs, corticosteroids, and even aspirin. So basically, these are drugs that are taken through the mouth. They go into the stomach and then into the small intestine, and then they can injure our mucous membrane of the small intestine. And another reason is improper nutrition, lack of essential fatty acids, etc., etc. And because of this, with age, our health starts to degrade. So if somebody is, say, older than 50, if he has taken or she has taken a lot of medicines, if he or she doesn't take probiotics and is deprived of enough essential fatty acids, it can get this leaky gut syndrome. And then the whole health degrades. So basically, when we take Start Easy program, it is very good for this leaky gut syndrome, and it is healing our bowels from within, especially if we combine it with essential fatty acids and with colactive 3. Just a second. I will show you. You see here are the offices in all across the Europe. We have several offices, but this is the English one, where I can show you. Just a second. Here, fatty acid complex. Over 98% of the ingredients are organically grown. Essential means we cannot produce them, and we have to take them. And they're very important for, here they say healthy skin, but it should be healthy epithelia, because skin is from outside, but from inside our guts and lungs and urinary tract, etc., etc. All the hollow organs in our body, they are covered with epithelium, and epithelium is very, very important because it is the natural barrier against all sorts of intruders. You can see how many things are there: flaxseed, olive, sunflower, safflower, black cumin, etc., etc., etc. Approximately almost 20 plants from it. It is extracted. It is called press, and it is a very important product for the health. So when we combine Start Easy program with colactive 3 and with essential fatty acid, we are starting to improve our health in a natural way from within, starting with at the same time it is called cell nutrition or superfood for the cells. So basically our body comprises of cells, and all our organs are built by cells. And every cell of the body, it needs proper nutrition. So when we take these superfoods like essential fatty acids, like colostrum, like algae, all sorts of algae, we are feeding our cells. So we are starting at the very base of the organism. Well, if we take supplements, every supplement is connected with some special organ or part of the human body. Like there are supplements for the joints, for the heart, for the liver, for the vessels, etc., etc., for the male sexual function, for the female sexual function, etc., etc., etc. These are supplements. They are good, but it is much better to start on cellular level. And because of this, we have superfoods, which are cell nutrition, like algae, like colostrum, like essential fatty acids. And then we have supplements, but I am not going to talk today about these supplements. You can see for yourself You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 20, more than 30 products. Some of them are superfoods, some of them are supplements, some of them are natural cosmetic products for skincare. So our company offers lots of products, and all of them are very good. And it is very useful to order them from the comfort of our home. They say that hardly anybody comes to the office of AquaSource in the United Kingdom. Why? Because people prefer to order by phone or by internet. So you can join AquaSource by contacting the person who has invited you to this webinar, and then he or she can guide you how to do this. It is very easy. You can do it online, and then you can start order products for yourself from your home by using the telephone or the internet. Like here, you see we have here all the contact information of the company, all the information about AquaSource, who is who in AquaSource, etc., etc., etc. And if you want to order products from AquaSource, you should contact your independent distributor, which is the person who has invited you to our webinar this evening, or who has given you the link to the replay. So, thank you for your attention. The goal of our meeting was to introduce you to AquaSource products, to see that they are very good for your health, and especially now that we are in this coronavirus situation, everybody needs proper nutrition for their cells, and everybody needs to support their immune system. You can see that officially AquaSource mentions that many of our products are very good for our immune system. And I, as a physician who has an experience like more than 20 years with AquaSource, and more than 35 years as a physician, and I am part of a network which includes many physicians and homeopaths and other health practitioners in several European countries, like Greece, like Israel as well, which is not European, of course, like Croatia, United Kingdom, Spain, Germany, wherever. And people from many parts of the world, they are working with AquaSource, and they have good results. So I recommend to you, first try our products, then join AquaSource in order to get a discount and to be able to order the products from your home, and through internet or by telephone or yes, this is the way. If you live in any European country, I mean European Union country, you can join AquaSource, no problems. You can join it online, and then you can start order product with discount. Please don't forget when you join online to mention that to tick that you would like to get one Start Easy program. What I recommend for every new person who starts to take algae, first to start with Start Easy program together with essential fatty acids and together with Colactive 3. And then if you want to stimulate your brain to work better, you take Climate Lake algae, which is all the time. And if you want to stimulate your immune system, you take sea power and green energy, which is mostly during winter and spring, or in such periods when we have the latest, name it corona or whatever virus, because I think that with this sort of life, which is very hectic, which is very much mobile, like you cannot imagine how many thousands of flights are there all the time. And people from all sorts of nationalities and from all places of the earth, they come into the other part of the earth, and in different cultures, etc., etc. So it is highly probable that we will have more and more challenges in connection with microbes like viruses, mostly viruses. And because of this, we will have somehow to protect ourselves. Of course, they say maybe a vaccination will come out. I don't mind. If it comes out, we will see how effective it will be. But what I know for sure is that according to my observation, for the last 20 years, people who are taking algae regularly, they are very good in fighting all sorts of epidemics, and not because this is a miraculous medicine, but because it is supporting every cell of our body. It is providing us with good nutrition. And of course, we have other tricks which are more for insiders. So when you join or when you contact your distributor, he or she will take care of all your needs, because we are experienced and we have a lot of information and knowledge about our product. So welcome to our network, welcome to our team, welcome to our family, and I wish you health and longevity